The legend of Haitian Jack is one of the most misunderstood tales in hip-hop history, a story layered with loyalty, betrayal, and survival. People have called him a glorified snitch, but let's get one thing straight. Haitian Jack never snitched on anybody. That rumor came straight from Tupac's record, and once Pac said it, the streets ran with it. But Pac made a mistake, not realizing how powerful his words were. Those lyrics destroyed reputations, cost lives, and painted a man in a light that wasn't the full truth. The reality, Haitian Jack didn't need Tupac. It was Pac who approached him, not the other way around. And once you understand who Jack really was, you'll see why Pac wanted to be in his orbit.
Being called a snitch came from Suge. Suge told Tupac to say that shit about me. But Suge was a capitalist. He used Pac.
Now let's get into it. Here's the real story of Haitian Jack, straight no chaser. This is another story about a gangster who outlasted them all. A man both hated and respected. But what's the hate really about? Some say Jack had something to do with Pac getting shot and robbed, but why would he? Jack already had more money, more women, more influence. He didn't need anything from Pac. Truth is, Pac wanted to be around the street legends. And Haitian Jack, he was that legend. Jack came up in the stick-up game, but he wasn't your average stick-up kid. He didn't waste time snatching chains or watches. He went for the big fish, kingpins, hustlers, real money. If you offered him 10 grand, he'd laugh in your face. Born in Haiti, raised in Flatbush, Brooklyn, Jack grew up tough. Back then, Haitians were bullied by African Americans, and Jack got his fair share until he picked up a gun and changed the script. When everyone was scared of the shower posse, Jack stood tall. The Jamaicans respected him. He moved with the Tamika crew, a serious set out of Brooklyn. He was a street dude, but with class. One night, he'd be sipping wine with a famous fashion designer. The next day, he'd be in a barbershop full of killers. You thought you knew him.
Getting all these 911s. Tupac must be dead. She said, why would you say that? I said, I'm just telling you. She didn't know my history.
But half the time, he gave people fake names. Jack started expanding, taking over corners and blocks, and even pushing into Baltimore. And yes, he had to bust that gun a few times to hold it down. DC wasn't his playground, but he had connections out there and stayed away out of respect. People say that when you saw Jack with a bandana around his neck, that meant business. When that was on, he was riding with the goons, and that's why Pac was warned. You could be laughing, popping bottles, smoking cigars with Jack and thinking everything was cool and not realizing 2 hours earlier he just robbed somebody for 6 figures. He lived like a celebrity, a champagne, Louis, the 13 shots that cost more than most people's rent. He dated A-list women, Madonna, Foxy Brown, and did it with style. Yeah, Madonna after Pac. It wasn't personal. Jack was just that dude, smooth, confident, untouchable. Jack was also generous, lending money to street cats and rappers who wanted his protection. You'd see him in pictures with Busta Rhymes, the Fugees, and even Clive Davis. He had ties in the music world and in the underworld. In photos, you'd also catch him with Beanie Man. He had strong connections in Los Angeles too. That's where things got hot, the club shooting that led to his deportation. Word is Jack was dolo when it went down, just him, no crew, and still held his own. As for Tupac, here's how it went down. Pac was in a club one night, saw Jack popping more bottles, surrounded by more women, and asked to be introduced. After that, Pac started hanging around Jack, even dressing like him. Jack put him on to Rolexes and Versace. Some say Jack got the Versace connect. Others say it was Ricky Lee. Either way.
And you can see the lessons that I missed when you talk to me. You can see where I haven't had a father when you talk to me. You know what I'm saying? You can see where I spent a lot of my time in the streets when you talk to me. Because the words that I say are not words that come from a mother's mouth or a father's mouth. It's words that comes from a pimp's mouth or a hustler or a dealer.
Jack wasn't paying for it. Jack influenced more than Pac. Jay-Z once saw him wearing an Audemars Piguet and asked about it. Next thing you know, Hov's rapping about APs in his songs. That's how much game Jack spread without even trying. Now back to that snitch talk. Pac called Haitian Jack a rat on wax, and people ran with it. But over 20 years later, there's still no paperwork. None. Pac also accused Biggie of setting him up, and that wasn't true either. So why would Jack set Pac up? What did he gain? He already had more money, more clout. If he'd snitched, somebody would have said it by now, just like the guy from the Quad Studio shooting eventually came forward to clear the air, but people love to hate what they don't understand. Today, Haitian Jack lives in the Dominican Republic, chilling, happy, still looking sharper than most rappers half his age. Every now and then he'll pop up for an interview, dropping gems and reminding the world he's still here. He survived Rikers Island, held his ground in LA County Jail.
Boom, it's all over, and we can see, how this shit fall, but that's how it is. And the reason being is because if I can't live free, if I can't live with the same respect as the next man, I don't want to be here. Because God has cursed me to see what life should be like.
And watch legends like Pac, Biggie, and Dementio come and go. Haitian Jack outlasted them all the hustlers, the rappers, the shooters. He's one of the few street legends who walked through the fire and came out untouched. Hit that like button, salute to the subscribers, and remember, in this game, stories get twisted. But before we close this chapter, let's really talk about what made Haitian Jack different. See, most gangsters live fast and die faster. They move off ego, emotion, and impulse. Jack wasn't like that. He played chess, always 10 steps ahead. He understood the art of presence. He didn't need to speak loud or flash money to prove who he was. His aura did the talking. In the 80s and 90s, when Brooklyn was burning and New York was a jungle, Jack was already mastering the game. He learned how to blend power with finesse. He knew how to walk into any room, from Wall Street offices to back alley meetings, and command respect. You couldn't box him in as just a hustler. He was more than that, a strategist, a businessman, and a survivor. People forget that Haitian Jack came from nothing. He was a Haitian immigrant raised during a time when Haitians were mocked, stereotyped, and mistreated, even by their own black brothers. But Jack flipped that pain into pride. He put Haiti on the map before Wyclef, before the flag was fashionable. When he walked through Brooklyn, people knew that's the Haitian you don't mess with. And it wasn't all violence. Jack understood respect. He gave back quietly, helping people in the hood who needed it, paying rent for families, keeping young boys out of the line of fire. You won't find that in headlines, but the streets know. They always know. When he got deported, most people thought that was the end of him. But Jack reinvented himself. In the Dominican Republic, he built a new life. He invested in businesses, kept a low profile, and lived peacefully, a rare ending for a man who once danced with danger daily.
And you got some people that feel like he was behind the Quad Studios situation too.
I mean, basically was hating on Pac, bro. You know what I mean? They, was hating on Pac, bro. You know what I'm saying? And
You might see him on Instagram every now and then, sipping rum on a balcony, palm trees in the background, smiling like a man who finally found peace. Still, his name carries weight when documentaries or interviews come up about the 90s. Tupac, Biggie, the East Coast, West Coast war, Jack's name always surfaces. Some speak with hate, others with respect, but all agree on one thing: he was real. And that's the thing. Legends don't always wear crowns or sit on thrones. Some of them sit quietly in another country, looking back at the chaos they survived and smiling, knowing they lived through stories that movies can't capture. Whether you love him or hate him, Haitian Jack's story reminds us that street fame comes with a price, but wisdom can buy peace. He's the man Pac once called out, the industry once feared, and the streets still whisper about. And after all the rumors, the beef, and the bloodshed, Haitian Jack is still standing, calm, sharp, and unbothered, because in the end, legends don't die. Their names always ring bells for generations and generations. Hit that like and comment on who I should do the next video about.